to order the October meeting of Glendale Planning and Historic Preservation Commission. Welcome, everyone. We will begin, as always, by noting for the record that we have a quorum. We're missing Mr. Green, but otherwise we have everybody here. Next order of business is to review and approve the minutes of our last meeting. Members of the commission, we've had a chance to review those. What is your flavor?
Move approval.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we've got quite a lengthy agenda this evening, so let's get right into it. There's no old business, so we'll just move on to new business. The first request is that of Susan Armstrong for railings at 311 East Willow. Mrs. Armstrong, we've all had a chance to review your application. We've seen what you're proposing. You can speak as little or as much as you want, but it doesn't need a lot of speaking, that's for sure.
It probably, it's a function of our age and the age of everyone we know just about, that it's time for handrails. And single steps are easy for people visiting to miss, especially as they're departing. So we're requesting doing them that match the existing railing.
Are they wood, Susan?
There'll be wood.
Okay.
So there will be a delay before I can paint them because it has to cure.
Okay. I move approval.
The design will match the existing railing, and next spring or so, I think I'll be able to paint them, but originally it'll just look like treated wood.
You second? I moved already.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Didn't you see me moving?
Motion second. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Moving right on, we have the next application is Bev Rickoff for railings at 315 Sharon.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Rickoff.
Thank you. I'm going to pull that down a
Seen
little.
your plans. We've seen her plans. They look a lot like your plans, but
Except my house was built in 1894, and Susan's was built, what, 10 years ago? But, and first of all, I want to apologize. I went ahead and had the railings built owing to the fact that I had an injury on May 1st, and I've been unable to get up and down my front steps. I've had to go out the rear. And recently, I re-exacerbated the injury, my leg again, so I don't want to crawl up the front steps. So basically, Marshall Bolander, who has been helping me for several months, he found the original pictures of my house from 1894, and the railings are the exact same railings that Charles Cloth put on that house in 1894, prior to when Jim and Esther bought the house in 1957. They took all that out and put that stone up. So I looked at an estimate to take the stone out, and it was beyond reach. So Marshall went ahead with his father and built it to spec, very durable, and Tom has seen it. And he walks by it. So in fact, it made my house look much nicer, and I've taken out all the old shrubs that are in front, and I'm going to put new shrubbery in the front in the spring. So, but I, again, apologize for being reactionary, but I was having a hard time getting up and down the steps.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the commission? Questions? Motions?
This has been built already?
Please?
This has been built already.
Yeah,
I didn't
Marshall
even-
Bowman.
In the front? I didn't even notice it.
Did you see the pictures?
He did a great job. He's
Oh,
outstanding.
that. Oh, okay. So you're not changing the stone.
No, that-
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah, he's a master carpenter, and it's 3 generations of builders in that family. Thank you.
Is that a motion, Beth?
I move approval.
All right. Motion and a second. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming this evening. Let's move on to the request of Timothy Wells at 10 East Sharon for awning and siding replacement. Mr. Wells, once again,
How are
we've
you?
had a chance to review your application, so.
You have not?
We have. We've all had an opportunity, yeah. And we have it here as well, so you can, again, give us as much of a description as you like or as little.
Yeah, so I'll start with the awning. Just to make our guests comfortable when they come in, give them a little rain protection, and would be a traditional awning like you'd see on a lot of other buildings in town. Also, there's a window to the side there, and there's a lot of water that collects in that windowsill, and the wood's starting to rot a little bit in the bottom of that window, so hopefully the awning might protect that a little bit as well. And then on the side of the building where Dr. Hallbauer built the addition for the restroom, that wood has started to rot. And so we want to look to replace that. I don't remember if I put in the request that we might want to put a material like a composite hardy board. I did put that in, and I think I may have included a picture of it. It looks almost exactly like, although the size of the slats might be slightly different. It'll kind of keep the same look, but I think it'll last longer.
There's not going to be any print on the awning, it's just an awning?
Yeah, just an awning. I mean, if there was anything, I think some of them have like a little
But it
decorative.
won't have a name on it or
No,
nothing? Okay.
no.
So there was a curved awning as well as the angled one, and it's the angled one. It looks like there's a little hatch mark on it. That's kind of what you're looking at, or?
So that's just two different styles, a curved and an angled. In terms of the actual fabric, they have hundreds of choices of fabric. I just thought something, just a traditional black or a dark blue, since the building is kind of has a blue color, something like that. Yeah. I didn't know if I was going to put any kind of a.
Either of those styles, though? I mean, was it going to be curved like the one image, or is it going to
I like the curved better. I put both in there in case, I don't know if y'all didn't think a curved would suit it, but I like a curved better.
Well, historically, the shed roof, the shed style, or what you were calling an angled style, is more appropriate.
You think it is?
Yeah.
Well, the only problem with that, though, is if it is raining and somebody comes up and you have the shed style, they're getting soaked as they go in. If you have the curved style, the rain's going off to the sides.
Well, the image that's shown, the curve goes all the way around.
Oh, it's a barrel type, huh? Yeah, okay.
I had another question, which is, how is it going to be positioned relative to the window? Because the window's very close to the door, and you don't want an awning going across the window, so would it be above the window?
Yeah, so on the first question, whether the awning is curved or angled, doesn't really matter to me. I'm okay with either style. I think the curved style looks better, but if you think that it needs to be angled, that's okay with me as well. In terms of the position, so if you go above the door, a foot or so above the door, which I think is where they normally put them, it would block out probably about this much of the window. So as you're looking out the window, you would see the awning at the top of the window. But it's not going to block, all of the window. I like that window. I look out there every day, so I don't want to block it.
Curve, though, wouldn't
Kind
be
of around the
right up
back
against the
side
window.
anyway, isn't it?
It's the back side,
Right,
yeah.
the steps that go up in the back.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it is. So
Yeah.
it's honestly not visible from the street.
It's not visible from the street.
Really not, because as you're driving down, the building blocks it.
Yeah, you can't see it from either angle.
Well, you can't, okay.
No. And if we put one on the front, that would be different, but this is in the back. You can't see it from either angle. Yeah, that's a good point, Dan.
Where's Congress? Oh, okay.
You want to see pictures?
I don't think it
I
shows the
saw
floor
that.
plan.
Okay.
I just didn't see the
It
house.
shows the site plan, though.
Oh, there wasn't any site plan.
Just looking at the site plan.
Well, I
He didn't
didn't
wanna see
see
it.
approval, and I don't have any preference of one over the other. To me, it's just personal choice, personal
Curved,
taste on the
curved or angled.
That type.
Okay.
There's a motion. I heard some earlier discussion about the straight edge being more appropriate than a curved.
Yeah, I move that we approve a shed style or angled type awning, either dark blue or black, as you suggest, and replacement of wood siding with hardy plank if as needed.
Okay.
Just a port of order, we had a motion just before.
we did?
Bob made a motion to approve, allowing him, the
Oh, I'm
applicant,
sorry.
to choose.
Did it get a second?
No, it didn't have a second.
Okay. I'm sorry, Bob.
No, that color. The question is the roundness or the straight choice.
She also specified color, blue or black.
Well, I think she said whatever choice he wanted out of those two. But let me deal with the procedural issue first. We had your motion. We didn't have a second, so without a second, let me declare that motion to have failed for lack of a second. Now we can go on to discuss her motion, which is to approve with the straight awning. That's the first part. The second part was to give the applicant a choice of color, essentially, right? And then the third part was to allow the replacement of the siding with hardy plank.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the color and the style, because they do have a lot of different fabrics and a lot of different styles, it would be important for me to know what kind of limits or restrictions I have there. Like, for example, in one of the pictures, you do see a little bit of a trim at the bottom of one of the awnings, I think. And so while that color may be, a color I might select, but
Yeah, we're not dealing with the color so much. It's the appropriateness of the design.
Mm-hmm.
So the motion says it's the straight, flat one that would be approved. You're now asking about the trim, the
well,
flares.
I thought I heard her mention the color too, so that's why I
You
was,
mentioned it, but, you mentioned either black or a dark color. and
that's
she-
probably the color I would
yeah.
prefer.
She was agreeing with you on that.
Oh, okay.
But essentially, you have your own choice of colors.
I got you. In case I found another fabric or something that I thought was more appropriate, I just
Right.
wanted to know that I'd be able to choose that.
Sure.
So about the fabric, it shouldn't be vinyl, right? It shouldn't be a vinyl awning. It should be like a canvas-like fabric.
Yeah, I think it's a canvas material. I think it's waterproof, so it may not be canvas, but it's not vinyl.
And so you were asking about what I would call a skirt around the
Skirt, yeah.
bottom, and that you like a scalloped edge to the skirt? But that was the waterfall stuff. Yeah, but that's not the one that I want to approve. Oh, this one is scalloped?
Some of the ones
Top
with the
one is.
shed have a scalloped
Okay, well, this
bottom.
one that has the arrow pointing to it is the one that I'm thinking of.
Right.
So if it has
Yeah.
a scalloped skirt, then that's fine.
Right.
So is the one the arrow pointing to, is that style appropriate?
Right. That's what the
Okay.
motion encompasses.
And I think the other piece of that, which was discussed to add on to that motion, no text or name or anything. I think that's what was discussed.
Right.
Okay, so you want to propose that as an amendment?
To that initial,
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
And that's your second as well, Dan? All right. Understand the motion?
I think so. Let me just repeat it back. So an angled awning is fine. I get to choose my own color. No lettering on the awning.
Right, and you can choose your own skirt, and you can choose, and the hardy plank replacement siding is fine as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you say that
The
again?
hardy plank replacement siding is fine as well.
Okay,
And by angle, it's the shed roof, the one that's indicated with an arrow.
all right.
Okay.
And if we're, I think I also heard that if we're unable to, or if we decide not to do a hardy board, we could do wood and just replace the wood that's already on there.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
I think I got it.
Anyone else on the commission, members, have discussion? Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. All right, moving right along, let's go to the request of Sue Anderson for a conditional use to allow a pool at 55 Coral Avenue. I'll remind the commission that this is a conditional use hearing. We do not make the final decision. I think you realize that. Our vote is actually by way of a recommendation to council. council gets to hear and make the final decision. Were you aware of that?
No.
Yes. Well, David, help me out here.
Yeah, that is part of the conditional use process. I believe that was explained to you when we started the process. But the application is in front of Planning Commission. Planning Commission will review it. It will then be forwarded to council for their final review and approval. It is on the agenda for the council meeting this evening, assuming approval tonight by the Planning Commission. So it really, for this kind of application, boils down to a formality based on what our code requires.
Okay.
So it's just an extra step in that process. Your attendance at council isn't required. Typically, they're approved with little discussion.
Okay, council is today.
Council's tonight at
Okay.
7. Yes.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
you have the floor. We've seen your plan, so
Well, yeah, and I would have provided pictures of the backyard. I noticed some of the other people had done that. I wasn't really sure how much detail I should give. And the initial, what I'd like to get accomplished today, I guess, is just to get approval for the pool. We have been notified that differing from what Hamilton County and what we've been told from where we bought the pool and other people and other, places where I lived and have had pools, that even though it is over 48 inches, that it does need a fence. So I was just given that information this morning. But the plan initially all started with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my little house on Coral, but it has no back, it just has a stoop on the back, and the front porch is very small. So the plan, we started back in March, even starting with plans for a deck to go around the back of the house, and that was going to be the first step, which we knew wouldn't come till for a little while. Well, then the pool became available. With COVID, the pools were so expensive, it was outrageous. So was the wood, which is why we put the deck kind of on hold and didn't get, while we started with plans, we hadn't really submitted anything for permit. So the pool came about, and we thought, well, we'll put the pool there and then get it in and get it installed. We won't use it this year, but the plan would be to have the deck come around it, and the deck will be fenced, and then if there's any additional fencing, we can address that at that time. But since we just found out this morning that we did need to have, that it was just a Glendale, that I needed to have it for Glendale, that we have a fence around it. Of course, I don't have any information for the fence. So what I'd like to do is get approval for the pool, have it non-usable, not to be used for this season, and then for the next committee meeting, get in front of you the plans for the full deck and everything, and we can move forward with the plans even if we're not planning on, have approval for that. So the pool came first, and that's what we'd like to try to move forward. The plan is to have a deck on the back of the house with that kind of adjoins to the pool, and have that whole area. So we'd not just have this small stoop on the back of the house. We would have more of an area for family and friends and that to come. And like I said, we weren't aware that we were coming for anything more tonight than just the pool. So that's kind of where we're at. Am I missing anything?
Plus, it's not, you can't see any of this from the road.
Right, it's all, yeah, yeah.
Fencing is no problem. That was just brought up this morning. We were unaware of that on my first meeting with him. He never said anything about a fence. We looked into vehicles. Everybody else in the state of Ohio is 48 inches. We don't need it.
As long as you have a retractable ladder, which is what we would have. But,
Same thing, and we were trying to find out when that was different.
and that's fine, but we have purchased the pool, and we have a deadline for when we can put the pool in without being charged a restocking fee and all of that. So at this point, I would just like to get approval for the pool. It will not be used, there will not be a ladder, we can cover it, whatever we need to do, and then come back next month with the information to, because I don't know that we're going to actually need to have a fence all the way around the whole yard. If the deck is going to be fenced around the portion of the pool, we would just fence what was left behind the pool.
It's fenced on both sides going down and in the back, so we only have to put a section on one side and then somehow do the driveway fence across the side.
So you got the little side there.
Contractor list. So the difference would be, which is this
They
is the
can go from the back of the But if they put a fence around the deck,
that would come right here
pool would touch.
to the end of the house. Yeah, and it would come here on the
Yeah.
Would that fence still be blocking access to the pool from your deck?
No, so this was done first.
Okay.
And so this would be open. This would be open here. Actually, we're gonna try to utilize the steps. So this was kind of our initial plan. But we weren't really ready for this. And so, like I said, when we came out and COVID and everything, we thought, well, we run Labor Day, they have food sales, we're like, okay, let's get the pool, let's get it set, set, and then we can.
Where's the pool go relationship? Right
so
here.
That,
Over
that
here on
railing
this-
won't be
So
there.
So the pool, the deck would be, deck is,
butts up
here's
against
the
the side.
steps. So we're gonna keep the stoop, so the deck will be here, and it will come all the way, like halfway.
This will be cut out a little bit.
Yes, and it'll actually, this was before, so it'll actually come out. But I mean, we have fencing, it's gonna be nice, we just have to,
My guess is you'll need a locking gate here.
Right.
oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Where do you need a locking gate?
Locking gate at the end of
Steps.
when you come up the steps. Otherwise, kids come up
Right,
and just fall.
yes. Yes, and then the only issue would be, we have it in, where the deck is gonna come out to here, will be this back half of the pool. And then that would be the area that we could put, and I've got some, I was looking at, I actually pulled some stuff today on my lunch
Part of the yard or something, yeah.
Well, essentially, would the fence be around your entire backyard? Does
The
that,
fence just needs to be around the pool.
but I heard your partner say that your backyard is almost totally fenced already.
There are fences on both sides and the back. The only problem is, in order to, our driveway comes down, so this fence is not a problem. This would have to be a fence crossing the driveway, where you would have to have a gate like opening. There's really no place else to put, so the garage is right here, so in order to fence that side, so the plan was to put
Screen that pool from the neighbors,
around the deck,
safety.
deck fence, and then we can put a fence just around this back area. Because I started looking this morning at,
That's
found
hers.
out that,
Have extra of
some
these.
different, that's not, yes, I do. And I honestly, I didn't, I didn't know what
I got a
today.
pen that works. You want a pencil?
I just thought, there's something on the other side too.
You gotta click it.
But I really didn't, get into all of this.
Safety.
Well, the beauty of a fence is we can do that without having to without you having to go to council afterwards. But this is, the pool itself is what takes a bit of time because it takes 2 votes.
You're saying you're gonna stick the pool in here,
Yes,
But if it calls for it, it'll
yes. And if you need,
so this fence, if you think,
yes.
but fencing this, how are you planning on doing that?
Well, we're gonna have to either, we're gonna,
The same height as the porch, or will it be off from the?
well, on the driveway side? It only has to be,
understand your concept is part of the pool's there, that's into the deck. Correct. So then you got that and then the deck. So this, you know, this is all there. How will you rail around the perimeter? So it'll be on the pool itself?
Yes. So the backside, there will be nothing there, but it's 48 inches, 52 inches above.
That's fine. If the fence is the same height
Yes.
as the deck fence,
The way the slope of the yard is, yes.
connected to that, then it'd be totally contained.
Exactly.
And you'd have to have
With
that
the gate.
Gate here to block access, so that would accommodate the fence requirement, I believe, of the ordinance, so we just need a better drawing.
Well, yeah, this was without the pool, we just.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the date, we started looking at
I get the concept for that, and then when you say no use, does that means you won't put any water in it, right?
Well, we have to put water.
We have to put some water in it, but we can remove the ladder and cover it, whatever.
You're gonna wanna cover it anyway.
Yeah, but not to use.
Somehow you gotta do that.
So, I mean, I even was looking at, you know, just something.
So do you use your garage for your cars?
One car, we don't have a one car garage.
Daily.
No.
In the
I'm
winter.
thinking the inconvenience of opening a gate if there was a gate, that's why I was asking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's, well, we pool down there, we may not go in the garage, and we, you know,
So you were saying though that the next commission meeting, then you would present the deck plans.
well, we can, I mean, that would give us time to,
I would have then is how would that fence or protection be around or attached to or behind the pool? That's just one thing I would like to see. I'm hearing, but in attaching to that pool, I don't know what attaching to.
Nothing attaches to.
yeah, at
Deck
this,
is built to the pool, to level with it, and you have railing around your deck, and the outside rails halfway around the pool. So the backside of the pool will have no access to be able to get in from the backside of the pool, the backyard. You will not be able to jump over in the pool.
but I see what you're saying. At this point, there would be nothing around the pool. It would have no ladder or cover and would just be there until this,
Correct. Once your deck is built though, and it hugs around half the pool, that half that's exposed wouldn't have any protection on
we
that.
would definitely, yes, either a ladder up around, a fence along the top of the pool, or even if we have to put something, just enclose the back
That's what I
area with like something,
I'm a little.
you know, like something even like this, just around the back half, if we needed to, but, you know, we'd like to just put something around the edge of the.
Well, that's, yeah, that's what I was asking.
Even with the fencing along the sides and in the rear, the requirement under the zoning code would be met by the existing fencing.
But
So
if
you,
there's nothing happening here.
if that's gated and locked, then
Yeah,
there would have to
this will
be,
definitely be, we would have to gate it.
you mentioned there'd be some fencing along the top of the rim of the pool. Okay, then that would,
That's what I was asking originally.
that would satisfy that.
Or whatever you were gonna do it then.
No. Bring that next month when you have plans for the fencing and the deck. All right. Is everybody clear where we are?
Well, we're just going to decide on the conditional use for the pool and not review the fence.
Not review the fence, right, because we don't have the plans for the fence, but I envision if we recommend approval, that would be a condition of approval, that they come
Okay.
back to us with the
Okay.
fencing
Right.
of some sort.
Okay, so just to be clear, there's 3 conditions that need to be met for conditional use. And one is consistency with the village plan. The second.
I'm sorry, what?
Consistency with the village plan.
Okay.
I don't think there is anything in the plan about backyard pools, frankly. If there is, I don't know. The second factor is traffic, which doesn't apply here unless you're inviting the whole village to use your pool. And
Well, I mean,
The, yeah, and the, how many people can you fit in it? And the third factor is the impact on the neighborhood. And so I'm just curious, does your neighbor, I know your neighbor on the east, I'm not even sure you have a neighbor on the east. It's completely overgrown.
There's one house next to us which is blue now.
Yeah, on the,
That's west.
On the
Yeah,
west.
On the west.
That's not his permanent home.
And and the other side is the abandoned.
right. But, okay, so does your neighbor know about the application
Oh, yeah.
and he or she is good with it?
Yep. Beth?
Everybody was notified, all the adjoining properties. There's receipts
Oh.
of certified mail being sent.
Okay. And I agree that it's not really visible from the street.
It won't be, and it'll be nice.
And it'll be very much improved by incorporating the deck and the pool together. So I move approval of the conditional use on the condition that you come back with your plans for the fence.
All right.
Oh, wait, we're recommending to council that they approve the conditional use with the condition
Great.
for submitting your fence plans.
Okay.
Yes, and just to be clear, I take it that the fence then would not be considered a conditional use, and therefore would not have to come to council.
No,
Correct. It's the appropriateness review.
It's
No,
it's
the
it's
fence-
either a building code thing or a part of our ordinance about safety.
so should it be a condition in the motion or not? Okay, all
if
right,
I-
then, okay, so the condition is that you bring your plans to the fence to the planning commission.
Which you have
Okay,
to do
the deck
anyway,
and the
so.
fence.
We have to come back for that at the next meeting,
Right.
which is next month.
Correct.
So we're hoping to have the fence drawn for you and also the deck. But they're
Right.
gonna give us conditional on, recommend it.
We are recommending it.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, now fencing, is there, you have stipulations on what kind of fence? I mean, I see
Well, you saw kind of
visual,
what was on the plan.
There are
something, there's only one side that you're gonna see from
Right.
anywhere. It's 25 feet, which is only 3 sections or 4
Mm-hmm.
sections, whatever.
Well, the only stipulations we have, and this is going to sound squishy, that it has to be appropriate. I mean, so it's a historic district, so we have to make sure that the fence is appropriate. Finished side has to be facing your neighbors, and then there's a height restriction as well for the,
Across the street, just put a split rail fence up, is that not appropriate?
I wasn't aware of that.
Were they replacing,
that project.
were they replacing an existing split rail?
Yeah, I took a picture, I mean, that was,
Not across the
but,
street, they're
but, but I think what we're saying is that if we, with the deck, we don't need the fence.
Well, the
With-
deck would have to be designed in an appropriate fashion, too.
Right, and the deck would take care of the fencing needs of the pool.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
All right, was there a
Yeah.
second? Second? Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So you're clear now. This leaves us, but it goes to council, which has a meeting tonight starting at 7 o'clock. So you're free to leave and come back or stay if you want, but they'll be hearing it and making a final decision, at least in theory, tonight. They can.
Do you think I should, do you think I need to be here for any questions?
I think so, and I'll let you decide, but I think it's typical that the applicant presents to the council as well.
Don, do you have any idea where that would be in?
Okay.
Would that be towards the front
And
of it?
Our son's there, so we go home and get him something to eat.
Oh, yeah, you got time. Yeah.
what time is it? I'm sorry.
6,
Oh, it's 7?
meeting's at 7, council meeting's
Where
at
would
7.
that fall in the meeting?
It was at the beginning, so shortly after 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I think just because the procedural status of this thing is a little unusual, where we're just approving the pool and not the overall design, probably you need to be there just to kind of explain what's going on.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank
Good
you.
luck. Let's move on with our agenda. The next request is of Debbie Bradley, a picket fence at 1025 Depot. Here's Miss Bradley. Good evening. I know you know how we operate, so we've seen your plans. We've seen your plans. We know what you are proposing.
Right.
So you can describe as little or as much as you want.
It's pretty much all in the plans. My reason for it was just taken out of here. My little dog's getting older, and he's getting a little hard of hearing, and he's getting a little blind, just like all of us are. And he tends to roam down onto Sharon Avenue. And he's already a convict once. I had to go claim him at the police department. I'd prefer to keep him in the yard.
All right. Well, we've seen the plans, and that's a traditional picket fence that you're proposing? All right. Members of the commission, anybody want to see the drawings or the photograph? Is there a motion?
Someone else do it.
Motion to approve, is there a second? That's the easy part, just somebody say second. All right. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That was the easiest it's ever been here. Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to the request of Tom and Lisa Kerr. Do it over there. All right. That's the request of the Kerrs for skylight installation at their house at 369 East Sharon. Mr. Kerr.
I'm getting quotes to reshingle the house, and these are some of the proposed shingles, and then I'm also looking at 3-tab shingles, standard shingles. But I'm replacing 2 skylights that are fogged up after 31 years, and I'm adding 1 2x2, same style as what's existing.
And they're not visible from the street.
They're not. They're on the south side, opposite Sharon.
And okay. And the shingles are essentially the same as what you have now?
I've got 3 tabs, and people are quoting these things. That's why I brought them, these dimensional things. Which I'm trying to get the 3 tab because I like the color and the shape, but I might have to go with these for color availability. So I want to do either these or 3 tabs.
But essentially that color.
Yes, same as what's on the house now in the pictures.
Want to see the pictures?
No, I've looked at them.
Y'all see.
I move approval.
Motion second. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
That was a close one.
You don't do color here.
No. Let's move on. The next request is the Glendale New Church for window replacement at 845 Congress. Yes, sir. Your name for the record, please?
My name's Dion Gladish. I'm one of the trustees at the Glendale New Church. This is a west window on our new addition built in 1980. It faces west away from Congress, looks out on some trees and the Lyceum's gazebo and pool. I took some measurements of the existing window. The new window will be the same opening.
There's actually less window space, is that?
It'd be the same. We want the contractor to tear out all the old windows down to the structural studs and inspect them to make sure there's no damage, and then put the new windows will be fabricated on site. They're not made in a factory somewhere, and so the rough opening stays exactly the same. Everything.
All right.
But the percentage of glazing gets smaller, correct?
The glazing actually gets bigger. There's 6 casement windows, and so the new glass will be fixed. It won't be a casement window that opens. And
Or are they
Pardon me?
windows going to be wood? The new windows?
existing windows are wood, and the new construction will be cedar on the outside, pine on the inside. They are going to use some aluminum flashing, and there's something that's vinyl, but that might only be on the inside.
Mm-hmm. In the jams.
Jams
The-
and-
This window is really falling apart,
Yes.
which sometimes happens with newer wood. It's just not as good as the old wood, but if you're using cedar, it'll probably hold up. So you're changing from 3 casement windows to just single fixed windows in each of the 3.
6 casement windows.
Oh, 6 casements?
Yes, like this.
That's what's there now.
See, there's 6 pieces of glass, each one's about, 6 of those casement windows.
Okay.
And then the
You're-
6 above are fixed. And the new one will be same size, but that 3. There's 2x6s in here.
Right, so instead of having 2 casements in each, I'll just call it a bay,
Yes.
it would be a single fixed window. Yeah, okay. And this would mimic the windows at the basement level. See, these 3 windows at the basement, or the foundation windows. So, well, the design would be consistent on that elevation. And it looks like some of the wood is deteriorated, some of the siding is deteriorated too, so that would be,
A little bit. One of the battens came loose and we pulled it off to look behind to see if there was any damage in it. It looked okay.
okay. All right, well, I move approval as proposed.
Very good. Anyone care to second the motion? Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, our last request for appropriateness review is the request of Fred Higginbotham, a privacy fence at 875 Willow. What did I say? 975.
975. Hi, Brad Higginbotham. You've already approved my initial plan. Once we took down a bunch of the honeysuckle, then we got full exposure of the Cincinnati Bell building. So that's why we're doing 50 feet of the privacy fence right in that area, 6 feet.
Is that just along the line that you share with
Yes.
Cincinnati Bell? It's not around the corner with the
No.
Ables or anybody else?
Nope.
Just that,
Just that one line,
what height is that?
6 feet. Yeah, we planted 44 arborvitae, and then we realized those aren't going to grow as quickly as we wanted. So, yeah, I wish for the old honeysuckle back, which I didn't think I'd ever say. So, yeah. That's it. They spent weeks tearing that stuff out. So, yeah.
I have some, yeah.
All right. Members of the commission? Motion and a second for approval. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
sir. All right, well, that concludes our request for appropriateness. We do have next on our agenda a public hearing to discuss certain amendments to the zoning code related to driveways and parking areas. David, I must confess that I had forgotten about this. I thought that we had approved it, but I can stand corrected. I know we discussed it 2 meetings ago. We did. Could you remind us of where we are in this discussion and why this is before us again?
Certainly. So Mr. Kerr has put together these drawings here. Members of the public, copies are attached to the agenda at the podium if you're interested. It was discussed a public hearing under our code is required for amendments to the zoning code initiated by the Planning Commission. So following this public hearing, once deliberation is complete, Planning Commission will issue a resolution of recommendation either for the changes proposed, against the changes proposed, whatever the favor of the commission is. Council will then hold its own public hearing with a public hearing date to be set by the mayor. So we looking like probably into next year that this would be considered, but this is the first step in that code amendment process to address the proposed changes that Mr. Kerr and his subcommittee have put forward.
So David, the last time we talked about this, meaning this commission, that was not a public hearing? That was just general discussion?
Correct. This is the legal public hearing as part of the code amendment process.
So when we voted last time to approve, forwarded it to the attorney and to you to prepare for what we're doing tonight?
Correct.
Our vote was last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom, I don't know if you're prepared, but if you would give us just a 30-second overview of what this is about, then we can take it from there.
This amendment is to accommodate those affected by the 5-foot setback ordinance that we passed, I don't know, a few years ago. They required driveways to be set back and sidewalks 5 feet from the property line. The unintended consequence was that some homes on thinner lots in districts B and C and A, that would, by definition, eliminate the possibility of having a paved access to their backyard. And so this is proposed to create an exception in those districts I spoke about where you would be able to put pavement back to your backyard in the form of a ribbon driveway to minimize the impact of impervious surfaces. So that's basically what this is all about.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your hard work on this, Tom. I know you had a committee. Do you want to give thanks to your committee?
My pleasure. Thanks for all the time.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, I'm recusing myself from this discussion because I will have to preside over this matter when it reaches council.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Members of the commission? Well, let me ask first, David, this was reviewed by our attorney?
Yes, and there were no changes.
She gave thumbs up. She's okay with it? Okay. Well, I'm fine with it as well. I give it a thumbs up.
Tom, why don't you make the motion and I'll second
It's not
it?
my practice to make
You
a motion.
can't? Why not? You.
Yeah, we're both looking at you.
You wrote it.
We originated, I think somebody else ought to.
Okay.
I can if nobody else wants to.
We're looking for a motion.
Motion to forward it to council.
Yeah, be a motion, it'd be a recommendation. A motion making a recommendation.
I'll make a motion, make a recommendation for.
All right. Motion and a second. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this particular item? Further discussion, members of the commission? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. David, I'll work on a resolution like we've done in the past for these sort of things.
Perfect.
Well, that concludes our action items. We always leave room at the end for others who wish to address the commission. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the commission on commission business? Mike's biting his tongue. All right. Is there a motion? Mr. Mayor, is there a motion?
Sorry about that. I was just taking notes there. Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.